there are some winds of change going on with Wizards of the Coast, and they have been going on for months now. And it's not that this is under addressed or not addressed, but I think that this is a great opportunity to take a step back from a big picture point of view and figure out what's going on. The things that I want to talk about are things like no more pre-release promos, no more sample packs inside commander decks, not doing reprint sets in general. There's a lot of these big shifts from what Wizards has been doing for over a decade now. Not all those things for over a decade, but reprint sets. Reprint sets were a big part of the especially later 2010s into the 2020s, double masters and modern masters and eternal masters and all these master sets, and then remastered, right? But then now suddenly we're done. Things like the collector sample packs have been a key part of commander decks for a long, long time, and no more. We're just not doing those anymore. And presumably, or the implication for Wizards of the Coast is that they don't need to add in collector sample packs, similar to the pre-release promo. We don't need a pre-release promo. Y'all will still buy the pre-release kits and participate. We don't need the promo. And then, of course, the overarching thing, too, with all these sets is being fairly conservative about reprint value. Even when you look at things like Ravnica Remastered or Innistrad Remastered, or even the bonus sheets, right? Bonus sheet for Spider-Man, the bonus sheet for even Lorwyn Eclipsed, even just kind of all these sets. The bonus sheet is fairly conservative, and I know people are get excited about the TMNT bonus sheet, but even the TMNT bonus sheet, I mean, let's pull it up. It's still conservative. I'm just pretty unimpressed by all of the kind of reprints that are available. Okay, so I guess this is, yeah, and this is sorted by price. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, if the most expensive card is a doubling season, which MTG Goldfish is reporting for $35, it's pretty weak. I mean, I was lucky enough to open up one of the bonus sheet. When I opened up a draft box of Final Fantasy, I opened up, I guess it's not draft, what are they called? The play box of Final Fantasy. I opened up the Ristic Study, and that was $100 card, right? But then you see even like Edge of Eternities, I don't think had the greatest bonus sheet. Spider-Man, Avatar. Anyway, just the reprint value has been overall fairly conservative. And so it's like, why? What is going on? And of course, I'm talking about a lot of subtle things. The very obvious in your face thing is Universes Beyond. Let's push Universes Beyond. Let's make it so that more than half of our Magic sets for a year are Universes Beyond. Let's make it so that our summer sets are Universes Beyond, our big sets, right? I thought Modern Horizons 3 did great. That was the 2024 summer set. And then, of course, 25 was Final Fantasy. That did very well. And then this year, 26 is supposed to be Marvel Avengers, or superheroes, or whatever it's called. And I anticipate that's going to do very well too. But Wizards is not interested in whatever their previous strategy was. And I've got a couple of thoughts about that. One, so for example, in Gavin Verhey, when he did his kind of announcement or explanation of why they're getting the pre-release promo, he did make it clear that he was not one of the decision makers. He is privy to how decisions get made, or he knows stuff, right? He works for Wizards of the Coast. He's a, important character in the story of how Wizards operates, but he's not the decision maker. And there's a lot of, and we know this intuitively, but there's a lot of corporate decision making that goes on that impacts Wizards, right? And corporate strategy is a weird thing. I work for a corporation. I work in corporate strategy, and it's a mess. It turns out that if you want to organize tens of thousands of people or even just thousands of people, it is difficult to get everyone on the same page and to make decisions and to implement those decisions. Moving quickly is risky and dangerous, and moving slowly is dangerous too, because then things don't happen and you get in a lot of trouble. But it's very possible, if not guaranteed, that things that are happening today were decisions that were made a year plus ago, right? And that is interesting because going into Ravnica Remastered, which was the beginning of 2024, that was kind of the final straw of the bear market. At least Rudy talked about how, in I think Secret Letters to Himself or different, and I've heard this story too from other people from I think Kitchen Table Games and maybe others, that the pre-orders for Ravnica Remastered were low. So this is early 2024. This was right before Karlov Manor also didn't do well at the same time. I'm pretty sure I've got my sets right. Let me look up a calendar. 2024 MTG releases. Yeah. So there was Murders of Karlov Manor. Did Ravnica Remastered come out in 2023? No, that was Dominaria Remastered, at least the beginning of the year. Yeah. When did Ravnica Remastered come out? Remastered come out. Apologies for you having to... Yeah, okay, that was January. Okay, so I'm right. 2024, Ravnica Remastered was an all-time low for Wizards. Their ability to print product, sell it to distribution, and distribution to sell it to stores was hitting a kind of breaking point because stores were unwilling to take product. So things changed. Print runs got cut. Strategies happened. And so that kind of goes into my hypothesis, which is that there must have been this mindset shift that happened around this time, because things probably looked fairly bad. Now, of course, Wizards is fine. The game is doing fine. But if you're unable to print a remastered product of Ravnica, the most favorite plane of all time, and it's not able to sell, you're in trouble, right? So this is early 2024. 2024, like I said, was the last year where a summer set was in-universe MTG. And then we get into 2025 with Final Fantasy. And by this time, too, by 2025, Chris Cox has taken over Wizards of the Coast. We out with the old, in with the new, kind of leadership and CEO, different changes. And 2025, of course, was just a booming year for Magic. And 2024 was quite good as well, but 2025 was just incredible. And so it's so interesting that by the time we get into 2026, there's all of these what kind of feel like anti-consumer practices going on, right? The getting rid of the collector sample packs inside of Commander decks is huge, in my opinion, for a couple of reasons. One is that the collector sample packs were meant to be they're not that valuable. And I'm not just saying they're not that expensive to buy on the secondary market. I mean, the cards you can open up in the collector the collector sample packs aren't that valuable. We can do one live. Oh, this will be fun. Let me show you what I mean. So here are Dragons of Tarkir. This Commander deck set is probably going to be reprinted, by the way. Murders of Karlov Manor was reprinted for years and years. It's an incredible deck set, and I think the Dragons of Tarkir is also an incredible deck set. And both of the sets had collector sample packs, and they all struggled with the same issue, which is what I'll show you. Each one comes with 3 cards. First card's an ad, and then the second card is, oh, very cool, a full art Awaken the Honored Dead. And the thing is about all these cards is that they have a special showcase or frame, which means that you can't open up any rare or mythic from the set. There's actually this short list that you can open up from the set, and a lot of those cards aren't ideal. Last card, it is an uncommon. The Kayak Guardian. I don't know how to pronounce that. Kayak Guardian. So actually, just a 6/5 flyer that's got stats. So this is our rare, right? Anyways, the point is, these are cool looking cards. They're beautiful. They're not valuable. And that's the reality for the vast majority of the cards, because even the best cards that you can get, the cards on the bonus sheet, cards like Mox Amber, I don't think you can open up, not Mox Amber. What's the Mox that the dragons get? I don't think you can open up that card inside these collector sample packs. I've opened up quite a few of them on live streams and such. And so the point being that these collector sample packs are not diluting value. It's not like customers are getting these super valuable cards because of the collector sample packs. So that's not a downside for Wizards. Also, it's a pack opening experience. Very attractive. I feel like it does a lot for the commander deck. Now, maybe they did focus groups and maybe they tested and they found out that people are not less likely to buy a commander deck because there isn't a collector sample pack. I could see that. I could understand that. It's also probably production is a little bit of a mess, although, man, if Wizards is able to figure out any form of production that raises sales, it's a good deal, because the marginal card they print, the amount of resources it takes to print one more Magic card is nothing, right? Compared to, like, if they're able to get an extra buck for printing an extra card, that is always going to be worth it. So if there's any evidence that these helped drive sales, these collector sample packs, they should have taken advantage of that by printing these. And so that leads me to kind of two hypotheses. One is that these don't drive sales, which I question. Even if consumers don't buy these, you know who does buy these? Are dirty resellers like myself, buy a bunch of commander decks, break them down, and these collector sample packs really help the expected value. Whether you're opening them or you're just selling them sealed, they help you move commander decks. So I'm very skeptical that Wizards found no evidence that the collector sample packs didn't help move products. So my second hypothesis for why they would get rid of something like the collector sample packs is that they purposefully want to effectively just make things more expensive, kind of like a shrinkflation almost. Like, let's make you pay more to get less, and we think that's going to be just fine, right? Which is very strange, because like I said earlier, you think that the cost of the marginal card, printing one more card, costs Wizards nothing, and if that's able to get them an extra buck, which I believe it will, I believe that these collector sample packs help dirty scalpers like myself really want to buy them. Oh, I did buy, by the way, those Lord of the Ring Commander deck sets, and I pulled the trigger at just the right time. I got 5 for $210, and right now I think they're like $220, and I don't know if they're going to dip lower. So I still need to check. I need to run my code to check the expected value. I'm going to start that right now. But anyways, I digress. What was I saying? So it's weird. This is what I'm saying, is it's weird. It's weird for Wizards to get rid of these collector sample packs. And you could say oh, it's just incompetency and whatever. And the economists at Wizards of the Coast don't have very much influence or whatever. And that is certainly true. There's definitely some level of incompetence and stuff going on. And so that's what I think is going on. I think Wizards is making a mistake, but they are trying new things. And if their shrinkflation strategy works, then I guess good for them. What else? Getting rid of the pre-release promo stamped cards. Similarly, I mean, it's just like a kind of shrinkflation type strategy. We pay the same, but we get less. You don't get the promo. Now, I don't buy the argument that people chase after the promos. People do set collect. People set collect all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, when you set collect, you're collecting the set. And if there's cards that aren't in the set, then you don't worry about them. I don't think that players are freaking out because, oh no, there's less set to collect when I collect my set. Maybe. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section, because I just don't know those people. And so it's just weird. It's weird that Wizards could do this one thing and make their products more attractive, more valuable, and they're just deciding not to do it, since the marginal cost of that card, of adding a stamp to a card, feels like it's so low. Unless I'm really missing something about how these printers and stuff works. I know that it's more expensive. I know it's expensive to pack collector booster sample packs. I know it's expensive to stamp pre-release promos, but is it expensive where it's not worth it? I mean, that's what they're saying by this decision. It is confusing. It is confusing to me. And I know it's not necessarily supposed to make sense to me, but it does not make sense to me. Other weird things. Wizards of the Coast printed a banned card. The Dockside Extortionist in the bonus sheet of Avatar, it was a weird thing. I almost wonder if Wizards taking over Commander was such a drastic, like kind of dramatic event that might have pivoted a lot of strategy that goes around. Like, I wonder if that was the catalyst for a lot of these changes, because we're seeing, you know, all these changes in how commander decks are printed and reprints in general, with these bonus sheets and not doing master sets. And then we're seeing, like Dockside Extortionist being reprinted is really interesting, because the implication of Dockside Extortionist being reprinted was that it was going to be unbanned early this year, like in the announcement that happened last month. That's what makes sense to me. I mean, why would you reprint a card that is banned? And it's, oh, you can play it in Legacy or whatever. Not like you don't need it in paper for Legacy. Most people play Legacy online. It's just weird, just very weird. And so, yeah, it's hard to make straight. What is going on with Wizards of the Coast? Well, we do know what's going on. They're going all in on Universes Beyond. And there was really positive reports about Spider-Man, that Spider-Man was selling well, that Spider-Man made Wizards lots of money. We'll see with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? I mean, we will see. We'll see what the pre-release is like that's happening this weekend. We'll see, or this most recent weekend, I should say. We'll see what the actual sale day is like, what the sales numbers are like. We'll see if the value holds. I am quite bearish on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I am not optimistic that the set is going to do well in the short term to medium term to even long term. I don't see the appeal. I don't think the bonus sheet's very good. I don't think the actual cards, there's some cards that are kind of good, but it really reminds me of Avatar. I think it's similar to Avatar, except the characters are less attractive, and and the source material is less lovable. That is my analysis of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, I'm just not sure. People are quite unknown about a lot of these sets coming up for Universes Beyond. People aren't sure what to think of superheroes, although I think in general people know that set is going to do well. People aren't sure exactly what to think of Star Trek, and I think people are quite optimistic about The Hobbit, although The Hobbit is kind of strange because they printed the Hobbit cards in the original Lord of the Rings set. They printed quite a few cards that reference The Hobbit. They printed a saga about Smaug. They printed a card for the Baggins uncle that stars in The Hobbit. Yeah, I don't know. But and so they printed those cards. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. But obviously they did such a great job with the original Lord of the Rings, and there's so much source material to grab from, and they did a good job making the non-legendary cards, right? Can I just take a second and say that I feel like the value of Universes Beyond set when it comes to flavor and enjoyability is like, how good can you make the non-legendary cards? I was so impressed with Avatar: The Last Airbender. The non-legendary cards were good, were interesting, were cool. Spider-Man, that wasn't true. Like, all the cards are legendary, and the non-legendary cards are not interesting or impactful, in my opinion. And so we'll see with something like The Hobbit, but they did such a great job in Lord of the Rings. I mean, Orcish Bowmasters is not a legendary card. It is literally just orcs with bows, and it's a powerful card, and it's an interesting card, and it's not legendary. So we'll see if they're able to recreate that kind of brilliance with The Hobbit. And so all in on Universes Beyond, shrinkflationing regular Magic products, printing cards that are banned. There's lots of just strange things going on. And it's indicative of some chaos. It's indicative of a leadership change. It's indicative of not being sure in a corporate strategy sense exactly how to move forward, or being sure that this is the right way to move forward. Maybe they're really sure about, we're going to raise prices, we're going to give the customers less for those raised prices, and we're going to focus on Universes Beyond, which is another opportunity to raise prices. I know this rant has already gone into like 4 different rants, but if you're still here, you're here for it. It is incredible to think about the journey Wizards of the Coast has gone through to figure out how to raise prices. I mean, for the longest time, booster packs were like MSRP like $4. And by longest time, I mean, this was like around 2010, 2013. And then they printed Modern Masters, or like whatever their first kind of premium reprint set was, and the MSRP for a pack was like $8. And that was crazy. You know, people are freaking out like, whoa, why are you reprinting stuff but making it so expensive? But also like, thanks for reprinting stuff. And they were kind of doing that for a long time. And then some crazy things happened. Like they did these premium products, like with the Ravnica, like Guilds of Ravnica Mythic Edition, which I talked about in a previous video, where for $250 you could get 24 packs, but there was 8 cool foil planeswalkers, and it was like, whoa, this is crazy. They did double masters, and they did like a double masters premium pack where for $150 or $100 you could get, it was technically like one booster pack, but it came with 2 promos in it, 2 full art, extended whatever's. Ultimate Masters was one of the final, I'm jumping around. This isn't all linear, but Ultimate Masters was one of the final times they did a special, just, before they did double masters with 2 rares in a pack. Ultimate Masters only had 1 rare in a pack, but it came with a box topper. And that was the first time they did like a box topper. And you just see this evolution of trying to make packs more expensive. And of course it hit its peak, with Magic 30th, where you tried to charge $1,000 for 4 booster packs, $250 a pack for 1 pack, not a collector box, for 1 pack. And they had to draw that down. But nowadays, of course, the collector booster packs are how they try to charge money for expensive packs now. And I mean, the MSRP for a Universes Beyond collector booster box is $450, which, what is 450 divided by 12? 37.5. So $38 for 1 booster pack is where we're at. And that's coming from, Modern Masters, where it was $8 for 1 pack of a premium set. It's really interesting. Wizards has fought long and hard to figure out how can we make things more expensive, make it so that you're willing to pay more to get less. And here we are with our collector booster packs and Universes Beyond, right? Which they use to justify more expensive stuff. And so that is all. It's all very interesting, but I don't have a handle on it. If you do, please let me know in the comment section below. Hey, my name's Nick. I'll introduce myself now that the video's over. I run a company called Capital Catalyst. My link below, you can check out my website, buy my stuff, send me an email, whatever. Thanks for being here. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you.